Edna, Kansas. Population 388.
So I'm really excited to be here to visit with you guys today.
Chief Ben Barnes of the Shawnee tribe is speaking to a class in the town he once called home.
My time in Edna was some of the best times of my life. You're going to realize those hometown connections are important to you too.
On this day, Chief Barnes was 6 months into a public campaign calling for a federal investigation into what happened to his tribe's child ancestors. He spoke to kids in the school he once attended about the boarding school in Kansas his people once attended.
It's now called Shawnee Mission. It's been called Shawnee Indian Mission, but its real name was the Shawnee Indian Manual Labor School. So it taught those kids how to make bricks. It taught those kids how to plant crops. It taught the girls that attended domestic crafts. But the produce, the products that were made at the Shawnee Indian Manual Labor School was sold by William and Thomas Johnson in markets of Westport and Kansas City, Missouri.
Westport in Kansas City, Missouri once served as a crossing for the California, Oregon, and Santa Fe trails. So did the Shawnee Mission. Thomas Johnson established the Shawnee Mission as a place to teach indigenous children about the agricultural and industrial ways of the United States. In the heart of Johnson County, Kansas, the Shawnee Indian Mission's 3 remaining buildings sit on 12 of the original 2,000 acres. The rest of the land now swallowed by the suburbs.
Just give me a lay of the land. Where are you right now?
We're at the House offices testifying to the subcommittee on Indigenous Peoples.
Just a couple of months after visiting his hometown of Edna, Chief Barnes visited Congress. Barnes went to D.C. to ask for more power for his tribe and others. He wanted to investigate what happened to the children at the Shawnee Indian Mission and other Indian boarding schools across the U.S.
For over a century, it was the policy of the United States government to tear Native American children away from their families, communities, and culture, to civilize them. These children's stories have been cast aside, forgotten, or lost, as if this tragedy never happened.
Barnes spoke months after U.S. government leaders had started an investigation after a cultural reckoning in Canada, with bodies found in mass graves at boarding schools.
My name is James William LaBelle Sr.
Survivors of boarding schools here in the United States also spoke at the hearing.
I've been waiting 67 years to tell this story. While I might have received an education or a white man's education, in the process I lost my own language, my own culture, my traditions.
There is no question that across the country atrocities took place at boarding schools.
But Fairway, Kansas City Administrator Nathan Nogelmeyer says to compare children at the Shawnee Indian Mission to boarding schools that opened after the Civil War under a policy of forced removal of Indian children from their families is an apples and oranges context.
I can't say that it is fair to lump the Shawnee Indian Mission into the broader category of boarding schools, particularly those that were federally mandated.
The Shawnee Manual Labor Boarding School did receive federal support and money, but Nogelmeyer says indigenous parents willingly sent their kids to the school with the blessing of former Shawnee Chief Pascal Fish. They also say missionaries' children made goods alongside indigenous children and often sold goods to Shawnee people themselves since the land was on a Shawnee reservation.
We know the history books tell us that there was a wait list for students to attend the school. It was frequent. This was considered an on-reservation school, unlike the federally run schools where students would be sent hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
The city of Fairway now manages the Shawnee Indian Mission for the state of Kansas. Nogelmeyer, for the past year, has counteracted claims from Chief Barnes.
And I think it's important that you hear our side of the story as well.
He first spoke to KBC9 Chronicle on camera months after Chief Barnes' public statements. Nogelmeyer sent newsletters to city residents saying students were not forced to attend the mission, saying tribal chiefs at times personally brought students to the school. Nogelmeyer also admits there may have been negative experiences at the mission, and there's a lot we still don't know. But he believes the fact indigenous parents often came to visit their kids at the boarding school is important.
I just have a hard time believing that parents then would allow their children to remain at a place where the parents are coming and going and seeing the conditions of their children. If the condition of the children was neglectful or abusive, we have kids. We wouldn't let our kids stay in a place like that, especially if we were sending them there voluntarily.
The parents came here with their children. They stayed. Why would they do that if the children weren't being given an opportunity that the parents knew they needed?
City of Fairway Mayor Melanie Hepperly has joined Nogelmeyer in wanting an accurate history of the Shawnee Mission told. She's tried to work with Chief Barnes to tell that story, to form a partnership to conduct a ground-penetrating radar search for the graves of children, and to tell the story of all tribes and nations with kids who attended the school.
And it was, probably 4 or 5 months. And with repeated attempts to communicate with him, we've even sent him a draft of, here's our thoughts on our partnership, what do you think? He never acknowledged receipt of that. He went silent. I knew something was wrong.
We had long conversations with the city and other stakeholders. And we thought that, if we could come to some sort of, we could bring things to bear to find a solution together. There was an unwillingness to do that.
As for the claims of any negative experiences for students at the school, Chief Barnes says he learned from a tribe historian he had an ancestor that escaped the school 5 times, that other tribal members had family members never return home, and he believes students at the boarding school experienced more than what the history books tell.
There are these family stories in this place. It's part of the larger tapestry of what happened in America. These stories are not important just for Fairway. These are stories that we're telling nationally. These are stories that are important for America.
There's a stark difference of opinion over how the relationship between the city of Fairway and the chief turned. The city continues to maintain the mission and tell its history for all the people that visit, as Chief Barnes continues his campaign to tell a more complete story of the boarding school, all the way to his former school in his hometown.
When we look at Kansas, we see Shawnee history everywhere we look. Everywhere we look. We're not sure everybody else does.
But Chief Barnes started facing even more opposition. Next on Chronicle, the dispute from people in his own tribe.
Do I believe everything that Ben Barnes says? No, I don't.
I feel like that maybe it's being used as a platform for himself to promote himself.